In every job interview that I've ever had, regardless of how the questions were asked, the one real question has always been, what can you do? More specifically, what can you do for us? Even the personal questions in an interview are really about how well one can fit into the company or the organization so as to be useful. Now, this is not necessarily a negative. Things need to get done. However, it seems to me that in our modern world, that this utilitarian attitude seems to pervade everything that we do. Last week, I took a few days off. I've been doing some of my work at home right now, like most people are doing, and it was difficult not to think about work, not to finish up a few things or even plan for the future. If you're ever anything like me, you're often tempted to see your self-worth in the things that you can accomplish. And what's worse for people like me, my past accomplishments are never enough. There is always the need to prove ourselves over and over. I suspect many Americans especially are like this. Now, being productive is a positive thing. Being able to set and meet goals, being reliable and trustworthy at our jobs, those are all good things. But the tendency, the temptation perhaps, is to apply that kind of virtuous work ethic to our relationships. Ask a young person in love why they want to marry this particular person, and more than likely they'll say, because they make me happy. Find them well. Happiness is a good thing. But when people look to fulfill themselves in others, when we look at people in a way that they will meet all of our emotional needs, aren't we really saying, what can you do? There's an underlying attitude that other people are simply there to be useful to me. Now, of course, most people in love don't really mean that. They mean something that's deeper, something more difficult to express. But in the greater society, in the world in which we live, we often see people as objects to be used. Pope Francis has spoken about this quite often. Indeed, this is the danger that all of Catholic social teaching points to, using others as commodities. At a deeper level, I suspect that this is also what we do in our relationship with Jesus. In today's gospel, soon after Jesus has already demonstrated his power to miraculously feed the multitudes, Jesus is not met with gratitude, but with, what can you do? How can you, Jesus, be useful to me? The insidious danger of this attitude is that we can easily use Jesus, our faith, the church, and use our brothers and sisters as objects for our own selfish ends. Jesus, the bread of life, tells the people, my Father gives you the bread from heaven. This bread, what seems like an object to fulfill my needs, is really a person, Jesus Christ. Earlier in John's gospel, Jesus tells us that God loved the world so much that he gave his son. Love gives. Love sees others not as commodities, but as persons with their own intrinsic dignity and worth. And it is in this love from God, God who is love himself, that we find our own true worth. Often we fail at our jobs. Often we fail at reaching our goals. Often we fail at being our best selves. But God is love, and God gives love, and love never fails.